Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aldrich, and I'm here again to discuss further on my current report about establishing validity from the classroom test assessment tool. And I'm here again to introduce to you the four types of validity. So the first one is the construct validity. It questions does the test measure the concept that it's intended to measure, just like the main meaning of validity, establishing validity. And for the next one is for the content validity. It is the test fully representative of what it aims to measure. And for the next one is the face validity. It questions the series to be suitable to its aims. And for the next one is the criterion validity. Do the results correspond to a different test of the same thing? Uh, Before that, so let me tell you this that validity tells you how accurately a method measures something. So let's go on to the first one. Construct validity. Construct validity evaluates whether a measurement tool really represents the thing we are interested in measuring. So construct validity is about ensuring that the method of measurement matches the construct you want to measure. To achieve construct validity, you have to ensure that your indicators and measurements are carefully developed based on relevant existing knowledge. So you need to remember this that in order to construct validity, you need to ensure that your indicators and the measurements or your assessment tools are carefully developed by the relevant or existing knowledge or the topics that you have been taught to your students. So let's move on to the next one is the content validity. Content validity is the assesses whether a test is representative of all aspects of the construct. So this simply means that this your assessment tool covers all aspects of your created assessment tool, or the assessment tool covers all the lessons that you have been taught to your students. So let's say for example, a mathematics teacher develops an end of semester algebra test for her class. The test should cover from every form of algebra that was taught in the class. If some types of algebra are left out, then the results may not be an accurate indications of students. So that's like the my what I said previously that if you left out some of your assessment tool, or you missed out some points on your previous lessons and you didn't include it on your assessment tool, the your assessment tool may not be valid because the students indications of their learning is not accurate. So similarly, if the teacher includes the questions that are not related to algebra, the results are no longer valid and valid to measure the algebra knowledge of the students. And I hope you get that one. And let's move on to the next one. Face validity. Face validity considers how suitable the content of a test seems to be on the surface. So a face validity is it the direct measurement of face validity is obtained by asking people to rate the validity of a test as it appears to them. The rater could use a Likert scale to assess the face validity. So face validity is also called as logical validity. It is a simple form of validity where you apply a superficial and subjective assessment of whether or not your study or test measured what it is supposed to measure. So let's say for example, an IQ test are supposed to measure intelligence. The test should be valid if it accurately measured intelligence. Where Very early IQ tests would have often have pictures of missing items like missing items, or these are just the examples of an IQ test. And at face value, the test was thought to be valid and fair to speakers of language other than English because pictures is universal language. However, the test was actually biased against the poor who may not have been significantly scored. It was also biased against. So let's move on to this one. So you can face validate using a superficial and subjective assessment of whether or not your study or test measures what it's supposed to measure. So the best way to establish face validity is to obtain by asking people to rate the validity of your test. So let's move on to the last one. This is called the criterion validity. So criterion validity uh, evaluates how closely the results of your test correspond to the results of a different test. And to evaluate criterion validity, you have to calculate the correlation between the results of your measurement and the results of the criterion measurement. I will explain it further. So, for example, a university professor creates a new test to measure applicants' English writing ability. So, to assess it, to assess how well the test really does measure students' writing ability, she finds an existing test that is already considered as valid measurement of English writing ability, and then he compares the result when the same group of students take the both tests. Then, if the outcomes of the test are very similar, then the new test has acquired higher criterion validity. Criterion can be any variable that one has to reason to think should be correlated with the construct being measured, and there will be many use of them. And when the criterion is measured at the same time as the construct validity is referred, and when the criterion is measured uh, as at the same time as the construct, the criterion validity is also referred to as concurrent validity. So with the word itself, concurrent, it is measured at the same time. You remember that? And however, when the criterion is measured at some point in the future, it is considered as predictive validity. So that's it for the uh, additional four types of validity or establishing validity. And how you hope you learned something new today. And Mr. Maranan will be discussing further on how to establish reliability and the other types of it. And I hope you enjoy. Have a good day, and thank you.